377th such event. We are trying to bring many things which are for national growth. And today's special show is on training in hospitality sector with two very good eminent experts in this line from a very interesting field called rural tourism. We generally, misconceive rural and village as something which is deceptive and something which is, not to be discussed. Whereas 80% of India is on something to do with rural. We should know that even in big cities, there are rural and village type areas available. And it is they who got a huge amount of, they hold India's economy into a different purview. But hospitality is as such a very interesting and very different field. It has got many sectors put together. It is something where food is coming, travel is coming, tourism is coming, and then hospitality in terms of actual hospital is coming. There is medical tourism, medical. Then on religious side, the religious tourism, and you take any sector today, cultural tourism is there, food tourism is there, and all these things come under hospitality sector. And it employs a very huge number of almost 35 to 40 million people. And world over, this particular field is supposed to be of the order of $8.8 trillion. In India also, it is supposed to be of the order of $700 billion in terms of dollar terms. And, it has got a very high potential. It has got a very good growth, and it has to be managed properly, understood properly. First of all, the word rural, which is seen as some degrading word, should first be removed. That's what our experts should do first, because both are from an academic line. And I'm sure they will do something to bring a different meaning to the same word. Because it is so beautiful to be in rural, so beautiful to be in village. But the meaning which is derived, if you see an youngster and say, I'm going to a rural area or a village area, they will first say, please, you go. I don't want to come. Whereas the beauty is now being seen internationally. If you go to international tourists of a reputed cadre, they all would like to spend some time in rural tourism. They all would like to spend some this place. There are two grades. One which is wanting to see things negatively and project negatively about India. And now many people have changed their mindset. Previously, anything to do with rural, and this means they would like to put anything they like which are demeaning to the Indian system. But last 10 years, there is a change in the facade, and still it has fully changed. They would like to somehow project India. Today, there are foreigners themselves who are aware of India's, heritage, culture, and the fact that India is a 10,000-year-old civilization, not a 70-year-old young country. It is something which has got many things to offer to the world, and many things which they would like to learn from here, and which is what is there in basic. Today, we have two experts, Priyadarshini and Shabnam, and both have done extremely good work in this particular field. So how I will divide is, let us keep the timing sharp. At 6:30 sharp, we should end. First 10 minutes, please talk about yourself, your organization, and then next two rounds, we will have interaction on how to take this forward, how to bring the confidence to the Indian public, how to bring the confidence to the world now that COVID has gone. COVID itself, 2 minutes on COVID. COVID itself is, I believe, is something which has struck from nowhere, and it is nothing. It should not have been over exaggerated, but somehow it has taken the whole world by storm. We cannot blame any individual. It is a geopolitical scenario, and it has gone by itself. Because for me, the numbers don't tally. Many experts like me, we believe that when something hits which is less than 1%, out of 1%, 98%, 70 to 98% have got cured. What are we afraid of? Even with antibiotics, there are this much cases. In India, per day, 27,000 people anyway die on a normal good day. So if maximum 4,000 people are supposed to have died, that too for about 2 days, that's all the average is coming to hardly 80 to 100. So, but it should give us a meaning. It should give us a learning curve for growth. And now the topic which you have is the one which is biggest hurt industry because of COVID. It has almost brought tourism and hospitality into a near zero position. Now things have started. Things are going to grow, and things should grow much better. As we know, few facts and figures, India touched 10 million after a very long time, and Indian local local tourism has exceeded 300 million, which is also something very good. So tourism is the one which will bring real good prosperity as much as the science and technology will bring. So I'll request Priyadarshi Madam to give her 10 minutes remarks on herself and the organization she's representing and how.
I think what I'll do is I'll introduce myself and I'll let Shabnam introduce herself. And then we can both talk instead of one person talking. What do you say, Shabnamdi?
No,
we'll take turns.
No, as per your comfort.
Yeah, because then that'll be nicer, instead of. Anyway, I think what happens is since both of us know each other and we've been working together for so long, we have the same things to say. I don't want to finish saying everything. It's better.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm Ishani Priyadarshini. And I am, among other things, I've been in HR for a long time. And I started my career with the Taj Group of Hotels after the Institute of Hotel Management, Calcutta. So hospitality has always been a part of my life. And the fun thing is, when we say hospitality, like you said, people think it's hotels and training. It's not really, because, hospitality is about the complete experience, exactly as you said, right from the start, when somebody is thinking of going somewhere, what experience he has with the website, to when he reaches there, how is he greeted, what happens. So it was a very funny thing, actually. I had applied for training in the first company where I worked as the head of HR shared services. And he said, come to human resources. I said, why? He said, see, it's this human resources employees' life in a company is just like a trip. You have to own that journey from end to end, which was a very lovely way of putting it. So I've been with HR for till about 2013, after which I now have my own restaurant in Calcutta. And about Wiki, I think we all know what Wiki is. The Wiki, Shabnamdi is with the National Council. She's also an advisor to us at the West Bengal Council. In the West Bengal Council, we see there's so much to do on rural tourism, as you said. But we have picked up 10 focus areas, which we will work on long term. We've also identified some short-term goals. However, the one other thing you said was very, very interesting, which is rural can give you a negative connotation. So usually those negative connotations are to do with infrastructure, not clean enough, not good enough, not hygienic enough, etc., etc., etc. So, but when you and I say rural, we think, okay, fresh food, fresh air. Yeah, so when I first went to Kerala, I was very surprised. I said, how come these are brick houses? Villages have mud houses, right? I've only ever seen Bengal and Bihar. So I was like, what is this? But then you realize being rural is about what is near you. And maybe that, as a part of the training, the awareness that rural means that it's cleaner, fresher, and when you go and when you come back, it has to stay that way. You can't go and, like you said, COVID. A big thing about COVID is so much of disposable plastic has increased. Even before, we used to tell people going to the mountains, leave no trace. Now, how do you not leave trace with surgical masks being removed every day? The challenges have gone higher and higher. Anyway, I'll now give it to Shabnamdi. Let her introduce herself and then we'll go on.
Thank you, Ishani. I would like to say about myself, I am in this industry for more than 30 years. So way back in 88, when I passed out from college, those days, very few girls came into this industry. So it was a different thing because I always wanted to do something different from the rest of my peer. So when I finished college, I went out to work to Faryaz, which was again through campus interview near Lonavala. I worked there, and from there I went off to ITC, Maurya Sheraton. I was in Delhi with Maurya Sheraton for some time. And then I came back to Kolkata. I worked with organized. Then I thought of improving myself. So I did a course on interior designing. And I started working for a company which I think does not exist anymore, but was a big name, Jensen and Nicholson. They used to say, whenever you think of color, think of us. So I used to work for their interior designing cell for a while. And then later on, I joined back to the hotels. I came into teaching because I had my child. And after that, I wanted to change my stream. So I came into teaching. I was into teaching for quite some time again, I went back to the industry because I wanted to upgrade myself. And I have off and on been back to the industry and back to teaching for quite some time, because I always wanted to improve on what I know, what I do. And also I had a thing in me to challenge myself to see whether I can compete with the industry or not. Because people say that if you are away from the industry for quite some time, you cannot cope up. So that was also a challenge for me. So I came back to the industry, and then I came into learning and development. So last I was with learning and development. From there, again, I went back to education. And finally, I was in Goa for last 5 years heading one institute. But then I decided that no, I wanted to do something else. I wanted to dedicate more time on some developmental work, which will actually give me a lot of satisfaction. I am educating, I am into education, but I would like to do some more developmental work in rural areas. In fact, it came to me almost 10 years back when I had visited one of the villages in rural Bengal, Purulia. Purulia is a very, I should say, it was a very neglected area, and there's a lot of poverty over there. But when I visited that village where I went, I saw those people, they decked up their houses, they painted their houses with natural colors so beautifully, so beautifully. And their village was so neat and clean. I felt, why this cannot be, showcased to the world? Why we can't do anything? And then since then, I had been thinking how to go about it. So that was one thing which was in my mind, that how I could promote homestays to international market, the inbound tourists, so that they could see what is actually India. When you go to the rural area, when we go to these villages, that is where we see actual India. So real India. And you see their culture, you see their food and their hospitality. They are so hospitable. They are so hospitable when you go there, and they feel so honored to serve you food. When I ask them, I would like to have your food, they feel so honored and so humble. So that is where I felt that I would like to work with them. And then came Wiki, and I took the first move to join in Wiki to maybe see my dream, my work also materialize through this.
Thank you. So now rural tourism, training, hospitality, they are all completely interrelated. You are rightly into training, because both hospitality and rural needs a good deal of training. In rural, there are of course twofold training. One, to understand what is it that they are talking, because many times we assume that we are going to a rural area means we are only going to train. Please, people do not know that we got so many things to learn.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they are not projecting properly. We should not feel that for every damn disease they got some solution, because they are all having the highest life expectancy. At the same time, there are many things which are which human beings have advanced, which they are not aware, which of course we have to train them. Not that everything has to be learned. So where we have to give with a full-hearted way. Where we have to take it in a graceful way. This is what people have to do. And training, as we know, in hospitality, there is end-to-end everything, right? From cooking to bedsheet keeping to travel to the way a person has to be addressed, the way they have to be respected, the way somebody who with negative intention coming, you have to throw them out also in its own way, because we cannot say everybody is good. There are many who are scoundrels who come and spoil the system, spoil the name, spoil the image. We have to see that, those people are kept away. You have to pulse that, okay, this particular set of people may not be that good, and people who are good have to be taken, because they are going to be your spokesman for future business. So with that in mind, how is it that Wiki is going to plan? Like you said, you identified 10 areas. In terms of expansion, today, once rural tourism goes up, again, I believe we should not believe that we are changing rural area. Rural area.
No, not at all.
We are working on something called secured governance. You used to see smart city is a rural phenomena, not drifting rural people into cities. And they should have all the good features which you got today because of advanced technology. And at the same time, they should be very happy and they should be able to live properly. Yes.
Yeah.
Praise, madam. Now mic is yours.
No, no, no. I'm just saying that is the whole thing, which is why we may have a uniform policy for all over India or all over a state. But for each place, yeah, the basics may stay the same, how to fold a bed sheet, how to keep a clean kitchen. But for every area, the training for content will have to be customized. You have to go and figure out what is their food. Then, okay, so they are now cooking for 10 people. If they were to cook for 100, keeping the essence alive, how do you get the same taste and flavor? Or like you said, scoundrels. Some areas attract this kind of people more, right? Also, another one, Santal gentleman, who's also an NSD graduate, he was telling us the biggest problem they have with guests is that they eat too much. A villager is happy with 2 pieces of chicken, whereas a person who goes from the city will say, give me more. He can consume. We see it in our restaurants also, right? When people like, they eat a lot. But in a village where it's all natural sources, that may not be possible. Because 10 people, if they eat up 10 chickens in one day, they won't have any left. So also, one thing is two-way training. People who are coming, tell them also how to behave, what to expect. And second, so for each region, this will differ. So the thing is that even our wiki, what we plan to do is once we get government support to actually travel into these areas, because this cannot be done remotely on a Zoom call. The first thing we need is to physically go there, understand the sensitivities, then we can come back, create custom content, take locals from there and make them do a train the trainers program. And then they go back and teach the locals, then we don't need to be involved. And also we all know that whenever we promote tourism, it doesn't need to be homestays. Even if somebody else builds 100-room hotel there, keeping in mind the aesthetics, blah, blah. Even then, it will generate so many jobs. Even a 10-room homestay generates so many jobs. There's a vegetable wala will come up, a fish wala will come up, an ironing man will come up. So, that whole, like we say, sustainable ecosystem, that will happen. Shabnamji, I'm talking too much. Take on from here.
Yeah, Shabnamji.
Yeah.
I think her net has gone down.
I think she froze. Okay. So basically that, so but what do we need for that? We also need to make anything happen. We also need technology. So if we are taking booking something, so like she was talking about Purulia, areas there, they don't even have internet. So how would a homestay accept a booking from there, Stuff like that. So there are a lot of challenges that comes. But I'm sure if the government gives a little bit of attention, it can be worked out, that we want it to, when people want it to happen, things happen very fast.
So when it is government, what do we expect government in this? Because, this is purely a commercial thing. Government, if it doesn't interfere, it is very big for us. Because when government interferes, generally things become a little more lopsided.
True.
So there is a huge business out there. There are people who are takers who are ready to pay for it, because when you go as a tourist, you are ready to be, looted. Everybody knows that when I go as a tourist, the same thing which is available at 100 rupees is available at 500 rupees, and still I take it. But in normal case, at 100 rupees still be bargained to 80 or 60. So as a tourist, they can spend. Now, as a rural tourist, when they go there to a rural entity, as I said, one dream is to have one central place which he can plan. A hotel like yours, around that area, maybe around 25 kilometers. When a tourist comes, they actually book the hotel. The book reserves, gets those people to be affiliated to them. And then it will decentralize centralization. Okay, it will be decentralized, but at each area there's some centralized entity will take care. Rather, rural tourism will not grow thinking that every household fellow will book somebody. Okay, so this particular person has got that business interest, has got this interest, then the rural person is directed. Or sometimes some people may feel that I want to be in rural area, but I don't really want to be there. Then they can be in the hotel itself. Okay, whereas rural food can come, the environment can come, daytime they can go for going out there, they may come back, because mindset of different people are different. So it should be a complex combination which has to be worked out. And like you rightly said, different areas will have different priorities, different, important contribution. Like you said, being in West Bengal, being in Calcutta, both are so-called communist entities. But things are different, So same thing if you say Punjab and, not Punjab, Rajasthan and Gujarat, both are business-minded. But if you go to Gujarat and Rajasthan, everything looks different. Nothing is the same. Whereas even in South, if you go to Tamil Nadu and maybe Bangalore and Karnataka, they are supposed to localize, they are supposed to have same sambar and the same, but everything looks different. So same way.
Karnataka and Tamil Nadu does not have the same sambar. You can't say that.
No, what I'm saying is, if you go locally, things are different. And that's why the rural portion may play a role. And organizations like yours have to play that collating role in such a way that it is beneficial to all. And I really do not know what you feel the government should do. Because I generally believe
I'll tell you what we would
do.
Because if you now look, each state, even the central government, they have put across a lot of policies. Even if you Google, you'll find them. They're everywhere. Which means they have the intent. Correct. But like you said, as a short-term goal, this is good. Make something in a centralized place and do. But then you're still living in a city. You don't get that feel. When you go to a jungle, let's say you go to Corbett National Park, some people choose to stay at a 5-star outside. Some people choose to stay at a jungle lodge inside, right? Sure. So for people who want the real feel, like, see, with Corona, our entire traveling patterns have changed. Previously, rural areas used to depend on backpackers. We used to go off to the most luxurious places possible. However, right now, if we want to go somewhere, international travel means 1,000 RT-PCR tests. We are not interested. Correct. So now people will be interested. So see, as a short-term goal, what you said is good. But as a long-term goal, there are places which are accessible in the sense that medical help does get there. Doctors go for camps, but nobody else goes there because in their heads, there's nothing there. Mm-hmm. But there is. So because see, the government has shown interest, if it has a body to ride on, now maybe they don't know what to do. It would be nice because, government always working with the art of living, I've realized this. You want to go somewhere fastest, quickest and do your work in the easiest manner, go with the government, which is why even during the peak of any distress situations, we always work with the local government. In that case, nobody opposes you. You go easily. And once you start going, you know how it is? Once the process happens, if you now start going to Purulia every day in these roads, which are just tracks, very soon roads will come, So these are long-term goals. But short-term, what you said makes sense. We make a hub, blah, blah. But in that case, again, only that one area gets developed. And actually, there's a more thing to it. I wish Shabnamdi was back. This is actually
she's back. She's back.
Yeah.
I think she's playing with the net.
Our council actually very strongly feels that if we can take it to the, this, it doesn't need to be in every house, but if we can set up one unit, which will function as a community center in every place, remote place, and intentionally employ more women. It can actually be, it will promote tourism also and also women empowerment. As of right now, they work all day and they get beaten up in the evening and their money taken away from them. No, a lot of them were working together. That would also foster a spirit of community. Shabnamdi, are you back?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Now completely over to you. Yes.
Yeah.
Suddenly
twice she had handed over to you.
He doesn't like us anymore.
You are not audible. Please go ahead.
It's going and coming. I don't know whether I'm still there or not.
Yes, you are. Go on. We can
keep the video off. Keep the video off. It will work.
Okay. So as Ishani was saying, I could gather a little bit. What we feel is the infrastructure that needs to be looked into. And there are lots and lots of things the villages have to offer. Lots. Each village has its own culture, its own handicraft, its own food, each region. So if we can, focus on that, developing them and helping them to introduce it to the people, outsiders, that how they can also learn so much from each region, I think we can do a lot through hospitality training. In fact, what I have a feeling is that we have huge, very big, large number of hotels in our industry, in our country. And if they have their CSR facility, which they already have, the CSR which they do, if they take up in, promoting these interior areas, regions, and they have their own hospitality training department, which they could.
Yeah, I think now she's.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
They could arrange for trainings, and they could go ahead and tie up and show them that what are the basic training that are required. It is not only hospitality training. There are trainings in hygiene. There is training on behavioral issues. They need to learn how to market their product. So all put together, I think hospitality training, hospitality industry itself has lots to offer, and also in turn gain a lot from them. I think over to Ishani. I don't know whether I have spoken in the same context or not.
No, we could hear you. We could hear you this time.
We could hear you clearly.
Okay.
Perfectly.
Okay.
Yeah. Please go ahead, Priyadashini.
So what you missed, Shabnam, the interesting point he made was, he said, we are happy if the government stays away from us. Better they don't interfere too much. I found that that's actually very relevant sometimes.
Absolutely true. Absolutely true. Because that is where we are finding all the hindrances.
Okay.
No. Let put it properly. See, where government comes is, government should come as a facilitator.
Yes.
The moment government starts interfering by putting a department and by putting some this thing, and generally, it has to be where, see, in any operational thing, I have been in government. I was the youngest senior director in government, incidentally. And, things can get boomerang, because, there'll be 10 different forces coming to 10 different things. You will not know which direction, which is government is saying what, when you get two contradictory opinions. So, but when it is a facilitator, when you feel like something like what you're suggesting, suppose some 10 villages are taken by you, and then you have, you ensure that it goes well, your organization does, you have some commercial interest. Today, government will say you should not have commercial interest. So, well, then how will you do? He will not fund. At the same time, they'll say you should not have commercial interest. Then how would you travel? How would you go? You can't keep asking everybody to put CSR budget for whatever you are saying. 10 other departments from government will not allow you to use CSR budget, saying that in the CSR is not allowed. So all sorts of complexity will be there. So they should be in the overall policy framework. They should ensure that, the policies are, friendly, flexible. At the same time, there's nothing as, 100% perfect policies, and go forward. Once the benefit starts coming, a different level of policy has to be involved. Because, rural tourism is not going to be a simple cakewalk, because there are so many things which are involved, human that's involved. There are so many local, as much as opportunity, local problems are involved. So one has to ensure that the problems don't come and interfere into somebody who is coming as a guest. Okay, suppose two brothers may be fighting for the same place, and in that place one rural tourism person is staying, and that fight should not hit on the person who is coming as a guest. So we have to ensure that the fight is separate, guest is separate. Same way, there may be some, food priority problem. Somebody may like something X. Whereas when the guest likes Y, please give him. If the guest does not like hot food, please do not give hot food. If guest has come only to eat hot food, there are some foreigners I have seen. They like, mirchi. Directly they like to eat, which is very strange. Mirchi means chilies. Okay. And I have seen those type of foreigners also. So if they want X, give them X. If they want Y, give them Y. And there are so many other things about, liquor and all. Again, that's a sensitive area. How to take care. Many of them think that part of the game. In rural area may not think it is part of the lifestyle. So where, how they should, they can be taken care. At the same time, they don't interfere in the natural thing. So for all the things, a small, broad rule book should be there. An organization like you can ensure that it is understood properly. And what is the flexible area? What is the area which is, firm? and see that money goes. Finally, it should not happen like this agriculture field. Everything is taken only by the collector, and the poor final person does not get anything. Yeah, madam, you can take it from there. I'm not the speaker. You both are the speakers.
No. That is there. But what you said about the middleman, that was also one. This is one of the side things we'd like to do, along with when we talk about rural tourism. Like you said, it doesn't mean people have to go stay there. They can go visit also. So another thing we would like to streamline with people who are actually on the ground there is, maybe a center where everybody brings their stuff when tourists go visit. So let's say they're going on a 3-hour trip by bus. Okay. So they go, and then with the villagers, so there's something people can pick up from there. So like you said, instead of 100 and 500, even if they pick up what is costing to make 50 rupees at 200, the manufacturer himself gets the profit. He doesn't have to give it to 3 shops who are buying it online, and finally I'm buying it at 600 and that guy is selling it at 25.
You get 6 rupees. That should not happen.
Follow Shabdamdi. I think it's raining here, so maybe our network is a little iffy. So basically, see, that's what, when we say tourism, some people think homestays, some people think food, some people think, okay, day trips, whatever it is, as long as people go there, don't spoil it, enjoy it, and come back. Correct. The purpose is served. So now, instead of everybody checking into 1 5-star, which is giving a low rate for the weekend, just drive 4 hours outside, go stay somewhere else, promote that. Because see, you and I, we are both from software company things. So now the point is, software is great. Software pays a lot of money, but end of the day, you can't eat software. Somebody has to take care of that agriculture and plantations. So what will we do with so much money? It pills or soya, I don't know, The future looks very bleak unless villages are really promoted.
They have to be promoted. There again, people have to stay. See, today, when we say Taj Mahal, even many of the CMs of UP have discussed with me, they feel, oh, Taj Mahal is doing very well. I say, Taj Mahal is doing nothing. How many people are staying there? Taj Mahal means just some 100 meters from Taj Mahal. When I gave a plan said that, in fact, rural tourism played a very important role. I said, I am planning Taj Mahal as almost 40 kilometers, on all sides. That means 1,600 square kilometers. I said, that's what I call Taj Mahal as a tourist zone and rural zone. I said, when somebody comes, they will stay. If you want 5-star hotel, 5-star hotel should be there. I planned almost 20 5-star hotels. And then rural tourism. All the rural areas should never be this thing. They should be encouraged. Absolutely. And the person may stay there for 5 days. Because a typical foreigner spends almost $3,000 per day. A typical Indian spends around 1,200 to 1,500. Both are good figures. Okay, we will not feel bad about the difference between the two. But of course, this includes to and fro travel, everything, end to end, all put together. So when such a phenomena is there, we can ensure that even to the middleman something goes. Still, there will be substantial things which are left for the rural person to grow. And rural should not be only eating with them. Rural should be a whole phenomena of their culture, of their artistic flavors, of their food is, of course, should be one, of their way they talk. They will also learn something when so many people come. They will also explain. Sometimes I have seen some rural area people, that day I saw a video, one particular person could talk in about 11 languages, international languages. And a very young, hardly 12, 14-year-old girl, she could talk any language and fluently. There are many exceptions which come there, and they all should be highlighted. This something has come, so we are seeing. There will be many such exceptions which will be there, which would make the whole scenario much better. Now that Madam has come,
yes,
I think we have to. Now the mic is fully yours.
Mr. Shekhar and I have exhausted everything we want to say. Now only you speak.
I know. I'm so embarrassing.
No, this is called Murphy's
but what have you spoken? That also I don't know. Now this is one problem. This is one problem of the rural area.
Yes,
I am staying in a rural area, and this is one issue, that is the network. So when tourists or guests who are traveling, they would need one thing that is very, very important is this network. So these kind of infrastructure needs to be looked into, which the people in the villages, in the rural area, they cannot do anything about it. They will do their best.
No, let me tell you a small digression, which will hearten you. I am running a series of web summits, twice a week for all international people.
Mm-hmm.
And people from London and New York had bigger problem than India. In network. It was so embarrassing.
So, I'll stop them.
Not think it is our rural area.
Yes, I agree.
But then what he said, I do not know what has happened. What to do? They will go off the line. Again, they'll come back and they'll go off the line. And that was people from London, people from New York. So this happens. But of course, it happens more in India, less abroad. But we need not feel anywhere. We should keep the thing going on and to see what we can maximum do.
No, jokes apart, here even a rickshawala WhatsApps you. In America, think about it. I think Indians and Chinese, they use internet and phones the most.
Mm-hmm. Like anything, maximum, I think. Each and everyone and everything. Yeah, exactly. Rickshawalas, autowalas, they have. In fact, we have these local battery-operated cars which we are using in the rural areas. They are called Toto. All of them have their WhatsApp and all that. So we can connect them easily.
And all those people have to go to a global level. And global level does not mean USA. Global level means India itself is a global leader.
No.
And we have to take it to, because India itself, I'm putting a new tagline for India also. I'm putting a tagline that India is a global soft superpower. Okay. So India is a superpower. In fact, I was the one who put the word that in software, India is a superpower way back when I started STPI. And now I'm saying India is a soft superpower, which means, India is not talking of wars. India is talking of the way, we are culturally and others, and the way we can proudly expose ourselves to the world. And here, coming to today's topic, the rural plays a very important role. And many people, at least till years back, were shy of it. No, let the foreigners come. We should not take them to rural area. That should go away. That is going away.
No.
It should go away.
No, not at all.
They should
in
proudly show them. Proudly.
In fact, we can showcase our rural places. Yes.
And also, we should ensure that negativity is not seen. Otherwise, a different mindset comes. That, what is this? This is not good. That's right. Yeah, please go ahead. Sharman. Yeah.
Yeah, so that is what we can highlight in the rural areas is the culture, the art, the food. That needs to be highlighted, and to make sure that the negative things don't. That again needs to be trained. Keeping the area clean, and that again depends on us, because rural area, those people, they keep their area clean. When the outsiders go, they are dirtying the place. They are leaving their footprints behind, which we need to stop. So this is either way we need to train people. And also another thing what we feel is the domestic tourists, they feel we don't have anything to see in India. They go to the cities, they go to some famous places, but they don't know what is there in the rural areas. There's so much of culture. Think about northeastern part of India. We have not known maybe quarter of it, what is there. So there's so much we could do, so much we could generate employment. People don't have to travel from their villages to the cities for employment. They can generate employment. We can empower the women. And that way, India can become so self-sufficient, and villages can become so sustainable that way. So it is not only a home or a hotel. As said earlier, there will be transport system. There will be, some people looking after the marketing, some people looking after the food, selling, and then there would be art and craft, the handicrafts in each village that they have. That can be showcased. People can come and learn, do some workshop over there, and they can learn something from these people.
Actually,
and that is how it can reach all over.
Yeah, actually, one thing that we both together with our council are planning, this is one way to set it off. So let's say about 3.5 hours from Calcutta, there is a place which is, half of it is has the luxuries, half of it is absolutely remote. So maybe stay at the slightly okay place and go in and do. There's a person who does, gala, lakh figurines, and he is the last of his kind. Once he dies, this craft dies.
Oh.
So we're thinking of, yes, they're the last family left. So we are thinking of asking him to do a series of workshops, and these need special chulas, special ovens.
Excellent.
So he can never come and teach it in a city. People will have to go there. So our official launch is on 6th. After that, our council members are all, I don't know, they're all such special people. So everybody's putting together one thing like this, which is special to their cause. And we think every month we'll go with one workshop like that. So, the moment some people go and do it, now there's Instagram, they'll get it viral, more people will get attention. So sometimes just shifting the attention there also will help, even if we don't get involved with that project full time. So stuff like that, that's all in the pipelines.
Good.
Yeah, in fact, when people go to learn that, attend that workshop, they will need some place to stay. So that is where the homestays or hotels, if local hotels which are there, they will benefit. The transporters will benefit. So it will be a complete thing.
Because, like you rightly said, India has got a maximum things to see, and in a broad framework, there are 3,600 major items which are all equivalent to Taj Mahal, because India is known from Taj Mahal point of view. And I think Taj Mahal will be the lowest of the 3,600 in terms of its beauty and in terms of its, ecstasy, and in terms of the sculpture, in terms of its history, everything. On top of it, we got almost 3 million religious places, which all have got its own history, geography, and, so many things which are, visited on a daily basis by this almost 300 million religious tourist people. So it is all the question of a small joke which they say, million flies cannot be wrong. Okay. So when so many millions go to so many places, it cannot be a place which is the same. At the same time, for some reason, because of our last 80 years history, 80 years, living this 70 years to 80 years, we have been sort of subjugated. So there is a built-up negativity which is there. And partly, we have also carried out in certain things, may not be as systematic as we should be. So that cleaning up has to take place. So that even today, when I'm saying a foreign visitor, it could just be an Indian. There are 32 million Indians abroad who would like to come and see India. Okay. And 32 million is a very, very big number. Okay. And they are all highly prosperous. 32 million constitute $1 trillion economy. Okay. 1/3 of India's economy is them. And not calculating. It's not part of India's economy. If you take, we are already 3.5 million. Okay. So they would definitely like to come, but they should not be disheartened. There we have to do certain configuring. We should not say let everything be natural and then take a youngster to a place and then he just falls on a small stone pebble which is there, and then everything is lost. They just go back halfway through. So that portion has to be little stage managed, just like China. China is very dirty inside, but they will stage manage in such a way that people will come and then when you tell them, have you seen this? No, this. No. Then what did you see China? Oh, it was so nicely managed. Okay, even if you take somebody from airport to a 5-star hotel and take him back to airport, he will think any place. Somalia will also be a very good place. So we need not do it that way. But we need not be over transparent and say that yes, we are showing rural in its natural beauty. Things people may not be able to see the environment the way it is. So that is why I was saying that with your training, you should do some training, comes development. They should know what the other man is looking for. So, a proper initial success is very, very important for cascading effect.
So if you notice the people who go and take photographs in rural areas, now the trend is changing slowly. But they'll always go and, wherever it's Africa or India, they will go and click a skinny guy,
I know.
Somebody without clothes. Now it's changing. So for, you can actually tell them for every person they click or whatever, if the locals know, they'll always smile. They cannot look sick or and another thing is for every photograph that it has to be a very conscious campaign that gets posted of somebody who looks poor. immediately a very good looking picture of that place gets posted. So, you don't now what happens.
Psychological.
Yeah, because when an Indian wants to travel out, he doesn't want to see poverty. I mean, I would love to go tomorrow to Purulia, where Shabnam is going. But then see, we all, at heart, we are all snobs. We'll say, okay, shall I get AC? Will I get hot water? And this thing. So if the basics of AC and hot water are met, we'll go. So to figure out, and there are some people who will say, no, I want to experience a mud hut. Yeah. But then there will be some people like me who will say, okay, mud hut and all are fine, but I have family members with me. They'll need comfort. So is there a, bathroom that my grandmother can use? Very relevant questions, People may say, we can't impose a lifestyle onto people who are going. We need to be, like you said, people who want 5-star, get 5-star. People who are okay with Dharamshala, good, So basically catering to everybody. And like you said, keeping the marketing high, that this is a good place.
Because that if we do not do, we'll do all this thing, and tomorrow that fellow will go with such a negative thought. It would be very embarrassing that what we wanted to show, the question of showing that half glass full and half glass empty. We wanted to show half glass full, that plus is half glass empty, and say nothing is he or she saw. So that is one of the biggest challenges which will come. And I am sure people like you would take care, have to take care. And then again, as I said, we have to make those rural people into a different terrain. They take maximum advantage of what they are, how they are, why they are. That they should stabilize. And give them opportunities to come out, some of them, and then they spread a good word and good culture. And some of these people should go into rural area. Even in my own concept for overseas Indians, I believe that every year India should send abroad 3 million Indians every year and welcome 1 million foreigners to come and settle in India. Okay. Because today, gone are those days when we never saw any foreigners in Indian universities and all. Today, almost 10% of whatever we are studying abroad, so many of their foreigners are studying in IITs and some of the more famous institutes. So that being the case, same thing for tourism. Yes, we should not feel that only somebody will come, we will not go. Let our rural people go to Ghana, go to New York, go to some place.
Yes.
And when you go to those places, you find many people from Indian rural areas are their relatives. When you go to taxi driver, you have a good chat with them, and you get to know so many things which are to do with.
You can ask the price of anything in Bengali in Times Square. They will answer you, but they're mostly Bangladeshi. But you can just speak in Bengali in New York, and somebody will answer you. It's so funny.
Especially like you said, Bangladesh, Maharaja.
In fact, the same thing. Yeah. In fact, we were talking about this exchange, the art and craft, which we are thinking about. We could send our people to learn some art and craft there, and their people from their country, they could come and learn some art and craft, which is so special in our country. So there would be some people who would be interested in that.
Yes. So the first one we have set up is with Spain, but we are deciding what art and stuff first. But so like that, we plan to slowly tie up with other countries. So they go learn something. So what happens is your own heritage has to stay intact, of course. But unless you add on, everything gets boring and stagnant and people get bored and leave, If they see that doing their own thing gives them exposure, just because he makes good pottery, it means he can go to Spain and learn pottery painting from there. Maybe more people will be interested. There's something to look forward to. If I do my job well, there's some benefit in it for me, which is other than money. Going out, that exposure. It's a whole new ballgame.
And other, of course, maybe that should be the last topic, is food. Food is something which, even I have written many articles to say that India has to be the food factory for the world. Because for the quality of our Indian food, since you are all from West Bengal, say West Bengal sweets, I don't think it is famous abroad, except for Indians taking. And it is something which one should go out of, and 90% of it should come from the rural areas in terms of the, speciality, because some it has come from them. Same thing, this Andhra Pradesh is supposed to have almost 2,000 or 5,000 type of achars only, leave alone other. And the Maharashtrians have got so many nice dishes in terms of, sabudanas and this and that.
And Tamil Nadu has Mysore Pak.
So each and every Tamil Nadu is lucky, its 2-3 items are world famous. Idlis and dosas and sambars. Somewhere it has.
And all the podis.
Come to the this thing like samosas of Punjab and this. Other than that, none of the Indian foods are famous. So, and I'm linking to rural area, because if you go to rural area, so many things, like you use the word Mysore Pak. Actually, Mysore is a place in Karnataka. And so many things of Mysore are famous, even though more famous as a Tamil Nadu. So, how to get them, how to nomenclature, how to jot down. Don't confuse by putting too many things to an outsider. Drop down the menu in terms of priority. So that first 2 items, they will say, this is the way it should be made, this is what should happen, and it goes. Same way, see, India is famous for even coffee or tea and all, but it is not supposed to come from India. I still do not know how it is, but coffee is supposed to come from Arabia. But, Indians are coffee drinkers and famous for best of the coffees. Same way, all the others have got their own history. If you go to each and every dish has got a history. So food is something in which rural and food have a much, much more intricate connection. Documenting them, putting it in a simple words for everybody. And in terms of technology, since you are a software related person, today multiple languages should be made and given. Suppose even if I am a Spanish fellow trying to visit Purlia, Purlia is now only famous for some bomb dropping case some 40 years back. It should be famous for what it is. It should be famous for. Say same place, no? Which have some
show dance.
Yes.
Yeah. So
it's famous for show. It's famous for art. It's famous for polish. The flower.
Actually, but only
famous for whatever is good and memorable for the place. Not something which is negative. So that is something which somebody like she said Mysore Pak. Same way, people should, like I said, West Bengal means sweets. So we have done so many things which we have to spread and not overdo the spreading. Then things crashes, people get confused. So it makes an individual priority. This is what an organization like yours can do. So that, once we say and put them systematically, things go 100% on. That's even a little tagline I'm putting for India as, global soft superpower. Means why I'm saying we are today global. At the same time, yes, we have got nuclear power and all. That is superpower. We don't want to be superpower. We want to be a soft superpower, which means we are not proud of the negative aspects of being a
power.
We want to be the cultural aspect. We want to be the knowledge aspect. We want to do something by which the world will benefit. World will see us as a thought leaders. World will come to learn. And at the same time, yes, if we give 10, 5, we should learn from others also. That's why I'm saying here 3 million people should go abroad, 1 million foreigners should come and settle, so that we don't get trapped in any foreign country, and foreigners also enjoy the hospitality. So just to have last 2 minutes of each, so that we can close it sharp at 6:30. So now maybe this time I will start with Shabnam Madam. Yeah. 2 minutes if you can give a concluding comments. Remarks. You are the teacher.
So as we discussed so many things, and you mentioned about food, yes, food is also a part of tourism. And when people go there, they see the authentic way of making food. For example, I'll tell you, people have bhel, right? The bhel that they are having. Do they know how it is actually made? So to bring it in front of the others and how originally bhel was made, these in the villages, they are still making things. And we can go back to it. Maybe, yes, we have machines which can make it. But when they are going to the village, the rural areas, they see how originally it is made. And with food and with everything put together, I feel there's immense scope to do and take rural tourism ahead. And we need the government support to facilitate this. There should be, all the red tapeism should be removed so that we can move ahead. We can bring India further, take India ahead. That red tapeism is something which we need to, eliminate if possible.
Yes,
Thank you.
Please, Ashni, madam.
So basically, remember there was this something, a movement, बहुत पहले, I don't remember it well, also called Atithi Devo Bhava. So something on those lines where everybody, when we talk about training, everybody from the airport porters to bus conductor, to everybody speaks the same language, not just to people who look like tourists. Because see, I've lived in Chennai 8 years. You can call me a tourist in Calcutta today. I'm just saying. But so the point is, everybody is a tourist outside 5 kilometers of their home. So, everybody from the bus conductors to the hotel operators to the restaurant owners to anybody, to even the shopkeepers, if everybody gets into that mindset, it will be very, very easy. One, the society will become better because you're being polite to everybody. You're not judging. But this is a dream. But let's hope we get there someday.
I'll just add one thing to this, Shani. As you said, we are already on the way of conducting a training for the transporters, the vehicle owners in North Bengal, in Darjeeling district area. We are planning to do a training for all the taxi drivers. So maybe that is how we can reach out.
Very true, very true.
Step by step.
So just to conclude the thanks to both of you for your great thoughts and way forward plans. And like we said, rural tourism, rural should not be taken from the typical meaning, the way it is understood about rural as something which is downtrodden, something which should be neglected. We have to train and bring that up. Nothing. Rural should be a proud rural. Rural should be something which we should ensure that, it gets into a different dimension in terms of national and international. And we should start first nationally also, parallelly international. It may not be that we should wait for anything. And bring the confidence, in every school in Calcutta, every school in Bombay should know what is it the rural place near the city is like, and the positive aspect, right from culture, food, you name it, and they are there. And for us, even if cricket is the biggest game, some of the biggest cricketers are from rural area and fully rurally trained.
Yes.
And you see, even when we say we are so proud of Abdul Kalam as the president, he is coming from pure rural area. He's not anything coming from high-flung areas. So same way, we are proud that, those people have this thing, and we are all rural indirectly. Maybe we are all second, third generation in cities, but that is more circumstantial than anything else. So with that, rural has to be promoted in a good way. Then there is a huge scope for employment. There is a huge scope for technology development, because when factories and others go, please do not deflect them to say that I am training you to come to Bombay. No. I am training you so that more Bombays also will come there. So
yes,
it is
exactly
a situation. You will be in a better environment, better setup, and with equal, so-called, facilities. Like I said, I have written my book on smart cities, where I want every village and rural area to be a smart city. So that should be the spirit in which we look at rural area. Not as doing something uplifting of rural area should never be. Somebody may even say that it should never be used. It should be like, putting everything on par, and par for an international audience, par for an Indian audience. With that, I will thank both of you and conclude today's event. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.